Hey everybody, this is Nancy Norbeck with this week's Creative Pep Talk, and it's really interesting. This week I wanted to talk about what's your truth. I'd been thinking about this for a little while, and so it was already on my mind. And then this morning I found out that my senator, Cory Booker, had been already for more than 12 hours by the time I found out, been speaking on the Senate floor. And it just fits so perfectly with the theme because Cory Booker has been speaking his truth for now nearly 24 hours as I'm recording this. And it's really had me thinking all day as this has been going on, even more about why it's important to know what your truth is and to stand in your truth. And this is not a political episode, but you may have a different opinion than I have about Cory Booker, but I'm finding what he's doing really inspiring because I think that most of us don't always know what our truth is. I think we let ourselves get thrown off of our truth by all of the messages that we get from outside of us because we're not often encouraged in our culture to hear what's coming from inside of us. And so a lot of the time, we don't really even know how to pay attention to what's coming from inside of us. A lot of the signals that we get that point us toward our truth actually come not only from inside of us, but from our bodies, and signals that are physical signals that we've never been taught how to follow. So we actually have to learn how to pay attention and what different signals that we're receiving in our bodies, different sensations are trying to tell us. But even if we ignore that for now, which I hate to say because we need to start paying attention to those things, they're really valuable. But even if we only go with what's going on up in our heads between our ears, we still often have learned better how to ignore our own instincts, our own thoughts, our own desires, our own perceptions, that our own truth is a mystery to us. And I know in my own experience, many times I have been really frustrated when someone well-meaning and possibly wiser has said to me, when I say, I don't know what I want to do, has looked at me and said, yes, you do. And I've thought, well, if I knew what I wanted to do, I wouldn't be asking you, pal. So, can you be helpful here? Because that's not helpful. Obviously, I don't know what I want to do. And I think usually what that person means is somewhere deep inside you do know. The problem is, obviously, if we did know, we wouldn't be asking the question, right? If we knew how to access that knowledge, we wouldn't be asking the question. So we have to learn how to get in touch with our truth. And there are ways to do that. One is to start listening to your body and figuring out, generally speaking, if you clench up at something, that's a sign that you shouldn't do it, that there's a part of you that knows this is not a good thing. And if you relax and open, generally that's more of a, yeah, okay, this is all right. This is a yes, this is something I should do or want to explore, or I feel safe now kind of reaction. Generally speaking, your own signals may vary. You got to figure that out for yourself. There are also, ways to get in touch with what's really going on deeper inside. Journaling is one of them. People talk about journaling. I just had this conversation with Wendy Gordon, and I'm going to put that up on Substack and probably on YouTube and maybe somewhere else as a podcast, we'll see. But, people talk about journaling as a way to get things out. I think it's a way to get in. In my experience, journaling brings up things I need to know. It brings up my truth. It brings up additional questions I need to explore if I'm smart. And usually they're pretty obvious because as soon as that question comes up, I go, ooh, hi, there's one I need to mark for later and come back to it as a new prompt later. And that will bring up new stuff. So, and when I say bring it up, it's not necessarily like dredging up icky stuff. It just brings up new ideas, new questions, new stuff to explore, new stuff I didn't know was there. But it's all about figuring out what your truth is. And sometimes it's really obvious. Sometimes you don't have to go through all of this. But I think one of the most important things we can do is find our truth, know our truth, and stand in our truth. Don't let other people push us out of our truth. Because as soon as we get pushed out of our truth, we tend to end up in trouble. And the more we can stand in our truth and stand up for what we know is right for us, stand up for what we believe, the better we tend to do. The more I listen to myself, the more I notice things tend to go better. I'm going to bet the same is true for you. And that's true for your creative projects as much as it's true for anything else. If you let other people tell you how to do your creative work, you're probably going to turn out crappy creative work. You're not going to be happy with it, and neither is anybody else. And I'm guessing you didn't need me to tell you that. You've probably experienced it for yourself, but just in case, there it is. So, what's your truth? Where have you seen other people stand in their truth? How does that inspire you? What do you want to do with your truth once you have it? If you already have it, what are you doing with it? What more do you want to do with it? Just some stuff to think about, because I think truth is pretty important. So anyway, I think history might be made today by the time you get to hear this. So we'll see. And in many ways it already has been, so that's cool. But go figure out what your truth is if you don't already know. And if you do, do something awesome with it. And with that, I'll see you next time.